The punch that cracked her ribs didn't just start a fight, it cancelled an entire species' future. I didn't understand that at the time. None of us did. We were just spectators perched around the Helion Spire Concourse, that kilometer-wide floating platform drifting above the molten clouds of Polaris 9. A place built for spectacle, thrumming lights under our feet, shimmering plasma rivers flowing far below, and a stadium whose walls pulsed like a slow heartbeat. People came to the concourse for one reason: sanctioned violence wrapped in ceremony. I came because it paid well to narrate it. My name is Telvos Wren, information analyst for the Helion Broadcast Legion. But today, all my numbers and predictions were about to become useless. Because today was the first time a human ever stepped into a sanctioned Helion rite. And the last time any of us underestimated what that meant. The human's name was Kaelen Ward. When he entered the circle, he looked small. Not weak, just compact, controlled. Black tactical suit, no visible tech enhancements, no ritual paints. His hair was cropped short, his jaw stubbled, and his eyes were quiet, too quiet for a place where every other fighter arrived screaming victory chants. Next to him walked Lira, his mate. Not human, she was Serathi, lithe and silver-skinned, a species known for fluid movement and echo-sense reflexes. She kept one hand lightly against Kaelen's arm as they approached the Rite Marshal's platform, her touch almost casual. Almost. But I noticed the way her other hand hovered near the line of her ribs, subtle protection, subtle pain. She tried to hide it. Humans don't miss much. Kaelen noticed. Still hurting? He murmured. Barely. She lied, with that faint upward ripple her species used as a smile. I've fought through worse. You shouldn't have to. You know the Rite tradition, she whispered. Every delegation offers one demonstration bout. Helions expect it. Expect doesn't mean deserve, Kaelen said softly. His voice wasn't angry. It was patient. Dangerously patient. I'd seen that tone before, on hunters tracking something that didn't know it was prey yet. But no one else noticed. Certainly not the Helion champion looming across the arena. Varric Sol. 3 meters tall, plated in dark crimson armor forged from the mineral veins of Polaris 9, twin jaws flexing with each breath. The Helions revered him like a living god. He'd won 52 consecutive Rite duels, each more vicious than the last. His roar alone had once ruptured a competitor's hearing. And today he was bored. Is that the human? Varric snarled, pointing one clawed hand in Kaelen's direction. I expected something bigger. Laughter rippled around the concourse. Spiked, metallic? Helions didn't laugh like most species, they grated. Lira stepped forward. I'll fight the demonstration, she said calmly. This was tradition. Delegates offered a single combat display to honor the concourse. It was never lethal, never meant to be. First injury ended the match. Kaelen should have objected openly. No one would have blamed him. But he didn't. He only said, Lira, don't push yourself. Something in his tone made her hesitate. Just for a second. Then she nodded once and stepped into the circle. The Rite Marshal's voice cut across the arena. Demonstration match, Serathi delegate versus Helion champion. First meaningful injury ends combat. Begin. For a moment, everything was peace. Light shimmered off the transparent arena dome. The hum of the concourse engines dimmed beneath ritual silence. Lira moved first, fast, graceful, circling Varric with Serathi precision. Her steps left faint silver traces in the sand, a natural echo trail meant to disorient opponents. Varric followed her movements with that hulking confidence of someone who'd never been tested. He kept grinning. He shouldn't have. Lira leapt, spun, slashed with her wrist talons, leaving 3 thin lines across Varric's shoulder plating. Ritual strike. First blood. Match over. But Varric didn't raise his hand to yield. He stared at the scratches like they personally insulted him. Is that all? He growled. She stepped back. Match ends. Marshal! The blow hit her before she finished speaking. A backhand swing that shouldn't have been fast, but was. A swing driven by fury, not tradition. A blow that cracked against her ribs with the dull, terrible sound of something breaking. The entire concourse reacted too slowly. The marshal shouted. Spectators gasped. The Helion guards stepped forward. But Kaelen had moved before anyone else. He was suddenly standing at the lines of the circle, expression hollow, voice steady. Lira! She struggled to stand, breath sharp, pain etched across her silver skin. Her echo sense flickered erratically, a sign of deep internal injury. I'm fine, she rasped. A lie. Varric snorted, rolling his shoulders. Don't start crying, little human. Right, combat hurts. Kaelen didn't look at him. He looked at her. Then he exhaled once, and the shift was small, so small only those watching closely understood. The way his stance settled. The way his jaw locked. The way the light in his eyes dimmed into something ancient and unyielding. I'd narrate thousands of matches, but I'd never seen a human look like that. Not fear. Not rage. Something colder. Like the instant before a star collapses. The marshal regained his footing and pointed sharply at Varric. Champion! You violated tradition! You! Formal challenge, Kaelen said. His voice carried through the concourse like a gravitational shock. To the death. Every species present froze. Some literally. Even the plasma rivers below seemed to quiet. Varric blinked. Then laughed. You want to die fast, human? Very well. Kaelen stepped past the line, ignoring the gasps, the rules, the marshal's protests. If you touch her again, he said softly, your head won't stay on your body long enough for your species to reclaim it. Varric leaned forward, jaws widening in amusement. Then step into the circle, little mammal. Kaelen did. The dome sealed with a thunderous hiss. The arena floor lowered 2 meters, isolating them from any interference. Helion tradition for a death-level rite. Lira tried to stand again, but the medics held her back. Kaelen, don't. He's not worth. He didn't look at her. He never took his eyes off Varric. The concourse trembled as Varric stomped forward, each step shaking sand from the arena walls. Last chance to beg, the champion taunted. Kaelen spoke so quietly I almost didn't hear him. You hit my mate. Varric lunged. Kaelen moved. Not explosively. Not dramatically. Just correctly. Every shift precise. Every dodge efficient. Every step like he'd already calculated Varric's entire attack sequence before the first blow landed. The crowd roared with glee, assuming the dodge was luck. I knew better. Varric swung again. A massive overhand strike meant to crush bone. Kaelen didn't sidestep. He stepped into it, sliding under Varric's arm, palms slamming into the joint with a crack. The champion screamed. The crowd did not. They had gone silent. Varric staggered back, clutching his arm, no longer screaming with rage but shock. You! He couldn't finish. Kaelen kept walking toward him, expression unchanged. Her ribs, he said quietly. Left side. You cracked them. Varric backed up. Champions don't back up. Not until today. Kaelen's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. You're going to feel every bone I touch. Varric roared in desperation and charged. Kaelen vanished under the strike, pivoted, and drove his knee into Varric's side, hitting with pinpoint force. Another crack. The champion's roar turned into a choked, panicked sound. He understood now. Too late. Kaelen's hand closed on the back of Varric's neck like a clamp. Then, silence. A sound like stones snapping. A weight thudding against the sand. And Kaelen standing there, lifting Varric's severed head by the crown ridges, blood running down his wrist. The concourse didn't breathe. Neither did I. Kaelen looked at the silent thousands watching him. No one hurts her, he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. He walked toward the medics. Toward Lira. Toward the one person whose pain had rewritten the night. And behind him, the champion's body slumped sideways, headless, bleeding across the sand of a circle that suddenly felt too small for what we had just witnessed. Blood from the champion's neck ran in thin streams across the sand, weaving between the ritual markings like it was searching for a way out. No one moved to stop it. Not the guards. Not the spectators. Not even the marshal, whose authority meant nothing anymore. Because authority trembles when a myth walks out of its cage. Kaelen didn't stop to look at Varric's corpse. He didn't gloat. Didn't roar. Didn't even breathe harder. He simply carried the head as if it were an inconvenient object he no longer intended to think about. Only Lira mattered. She tried to sit up when she saw him, but pain seized her ribs. The medics pushed her gently back onto the floating stretcher, but she shook them off, eyes fixed on the human walking toward her like a storm compressed into a single shape. "Kaelen," she whispered, one hand reaching out. He set Varric's head down beside the stretcher with deliberate care, as if placing something fragile. It was more unnerving than if he'd thrown it. "I told you not to push yourself," he said softly. Lira managed a weak breath. "You should not have fought for me." He rested his forehead lightly against hers. "I didn't fight for you. I ended him for you." The Serathi medic stiffened at his words, instincts warning them that whatever he had become in the circle wasn't entirely gone yet. One medic leaned close to the other and whispered something about human cortisol spikes and unstable adrenaline states. Kaelen turned his head slightly. "I can hear you," he said. The medic froze. Lira touched his cheek. "You scared them." "I wasn't trying to," Kaelen murmured. "I'm just telling the truth." But even I, from my analyst's gallery above, could see the truth was a blade pressed against the entire concourse. He wasn't threatening anyone. He didn't have to. The threat was the memory of what he'd done. The Helion counselors arrived next, descending in their levitation cloaks, gold threads shimmering as they landed with ceremonial precision. They tried to salvage dignity, standing in rigid formation, arms folded behind their backs, but fear radiated off them in waves. Counselor Oryx, oldest and proudest, spoke first. "Human," he said, voice steady only because he forced it. "You violated the Rite. You took the life of our champion. He forfeited his right to live," Kaelen replied without looking at him. "The moment he broke tradition." Oryx swallowed. "The punishment for killing a champion is death. Not only yours, but your delegation's." The guards stepped closer, hands on their shock pikes. Kaelen didn't move. He didn't even blink. He just lowered his hand from Lyra's shoulder, stood up straight, and turned to face the council as if he'd been waiting for them. "You want blood," he said. "After your champion spilled hers?" Oryx faltered. "The right must be upheld." "The right was upheld," Kaelen said. "The moment he struck her after the match ended, he nullified its protection." Oryx opened his mouth, but another voice cut him off. Counselor Vara, the only Helion who seemed more intelligent than angry. "He's right," she said quietly. "Under the ancient writ of balance, any combatant who strikes outside the martial signal forfeits all right defenses. The human acted within tradition." Oryx's jaw tightened. He knew she was right. Knew the law. Knew Helions had broken their own sacred rules first. Kaelen didn't smile. He simply waited. And Oryx, towering, armored, decorated with 57 honor bands, stepped back. The entire concourse saw it. A Helion counselor retreating from a human. That moment changed everything. Vara cleared her throat. "The council recognizes the human's action as lawful under Rite doctrine. No sanctions will be issued." Gasps. Whispers. Ripples of disbelief. Kaelen nodded once. He wasn't asking their permission. He wasn't relieved. He was just acknowledging a formality. Oryx recovered enough to glare down at Varric's severed head. "The champion was the pride of our people. His death," Kaelen said, "is the natural consequence of harming someone he shouldn't have touched." Every Helion flinched. Not metaphorically. Physically. As if the words carried gravitational force. And then Lira exhaled a sharp, pained breath, her ribs spasming. Kaelen turned instantly, kneeling beside her. Hey, stay with me. She tried to smirk, but the motion strained her. You're intense. You're hurt. I've been worse, she whispered, though her voice trembled. Just help me up. I'll carry you, Kaelen said. I can walk. You'll let me carry you. She didn't argue again. He lifted her gently, careful of every breath she took, every flinch, every subtle movement of her injured ribs. Her arms wrapped around his neck, claws resting harmlessly against his back. And the entire concourse watched this human, this quiet, lethal force, hold his mate like she was the only thing grounding him to reason. A Helion guard stepped forward, too focused on protocol to notice the danger. Human! You must leave the arena immediately while we... Kaelen's eyes flicked toward him. Just a flick. The guard swallowed the rest of his sentence and stepped back. Vara raised her voice so all could hear. The human delegation is granted immediate passage from the concourse. No one is to impede them. Not a suggestion. A survival instinct. Kaelen walked slowly toward the exit tunnel, Lira safe in his arms. With each step, the crowd parted like two magnetic poles repelling each other. Varric's head remained behind, face frozen in shock, jaws slack, eyes glassed over. A warning carved in anatomy. As they neared the tunnel entrance, Lira opened her eyes again. Kaelen, she whispered, voice faint. You didn't have to kill him. He looked down at her, expression unreadable. He didn't have to hurt you. A pause. Does that frighten you? She shook her head weakly against his chest. No. I knew what you were before anyone else did. He huffed a soft breath, something almost like relief. Good. In the gallery above, I finally found my voice, pressing a hand to my headset as I delivered the closing line of a broadcast that would be replayed across 100 systems before dawn. Let the record show, I said hoarsely, that the Helion Concourse witnessed more than a duel tonight. It witnessed a lesson, a warning, and perhaps the beginning of a very different era. Kaelen didn't hear me. He was already disappearing into the tunnel's blue light, carrying the one life he refused to let the galaxy touch again. Behind him, the arena stayed silent. Terrified. Awed. Changed. And somewhere deep in the data logs that would later define this day, one line would be highlighted under 1,000 review screens. They hurt the human's mate. And their champion's head ended in his hands.